For each problem below, simplify using exponent rules. No answers may contain negative exponents. Right on number 1, since we have multiplication, we're just going to multiply the normal numbers. So 6 times 7 will be 42, and then we'll add the exponents, so we'll get x to the 13. On problem number 2, when we have parentheses, a power raised to a power, we're going to multiply, so we'll get x to the 45th. On the next one, since we have a division sign, we're going to subtract the exponent, so we'll get x to the 4th. Problem 4, when we have parentheses, we are going to multiply, but I do need to put a 1 on that 5, and then I'm going to get 5, 1 times 2 is 2, and then x, 4 times 2 is 8. And then I do need to figure out what 5 squared is, which is 25x to the 8. Right, next one, again, when I do have parentheses, I'm going to multiply, so I'll get x to the 21 over y to the 56, and there's nothing else I can do with that problem because the bases are not the same. All right, on number 6, it looks like it's done, but I do have a negative exponent, so I do need to take care of that by moving that specific term down to the bottom. So the 8 and the n to the 9 get to stay where they are. The m moves down to the bottom, and it becomes positive. Okay, problem 7. I do have multiplication going on, but first of all, I have parentheses, so I'm going to put 1s on anything that doesn't have a power. So when I multiply, I'm going to get x to the 2, y to the 2, and then times, put a 1 on that 8 as well, I'm going to get negative 8 to the 3rd, y to the 3rd. All right, and then from here, negative 8 to the 3rd is going to be, if I figure that out on my calculator, will give me 512, and since it's a negative raised to an odd power, we're going to get a negative 512, and then I'll get x to the 1, or just x, y to the add 1 and 3, I get 4. So that would be my final answer. I do not put 512 on the bottom because it doesn't have a negative power, it just happens to be negative. All right, on number 8, I'm going to go ahead and multiply because I have parentheses first. I'll put 1s by what I need to. So I'm going to get r to the 9, s to the 3, t to the 21, and then times s to the 32, t to the 8. All right, the next thing that I would like to do is just combine what I can. There's nothing to go with the r, so I'll just bring that down and make it r to the 9. I'll have s to the 35, and I'll have t to the 29. All right, and the next part, we're going to multiply the normal numbers. So 5 times 8 is 40, and then I'm going to take my a's and I'm going to get to add the exponents. So 7 plus negative 7 is 0, so I'll get 8 to the 0. We did find out that anything to the 0 power is equal to 1, so 40 times 1 will give me 40 is my answer. Okay, number 10, I'm going to start up top first by adding my exponents, so I'll get x to the 11 over x to the 3, and then since I have division, I'll subtract my exponents and get x to the 8th. The key number for this video is 42973. All right, number 11, I am going to get, first thing I need to do is multiply, so I'll get m to the 8, n to the 18, and p to the negative 6, and then since the p has a negative exponent on it, it belongs in the denominator, so I'll get m to the 8, n to the 18, all over p to the 6. All right, number 12, people work different ways. I'll work it both ways if you'd like me to. First of all, if I subtract first, I'll get x to the negative 2, and then I'll get y to the 6, because 4 minus negative 2 is actually a positive 6, and then raised to the 6th power. I now get to multiply. I'll get x to the negative 12, y to the 36, and then the y belongs on the x belongs on the bottom because it's a negative exponent, so I'll get y to the 36 over x to the 12. Now if you chose to work it a different way, I'll work it that way as well. If I just multiplied by the powers first, I'd get x to the 18, y to the 24, and then I'll get x to the 30, y to the negative 12, and then if I subtract, 18 minus 30 gives me negative 12, and then 24 minus negative 12 gives me 36, which is exactly what I got when I was working it up there. Okay, number 13 and 14 are both bonuses. I think we're very familiar with number 13, so I would definitely suggest doing this one. When I go ahead, I'm going to, on this one, we can either work across or down. I'm going to work down first. If I subtract, I'm going to get x to the negative 2, and then y to the 1, and then I'm going to put some 1s there. I'm going to get x to the 7, y to the negative 8, because I'm subtracting each time. All right, now if I combine my x's, I'll get x to the 5 because I added them, and then y, 1 plus negative 8 is negative 7, and then to finish this, we don't want the y up top because it has a negative exponent, so it's going to be x to the 5 over y to the 7. If you chose to work it the other way, going across first, if I add it, I get x to the 11, y to the 5, and then over x to the 6th, y to the 12th, and then when I subtracted, I'd still get x to the 5, y to the negative 7, just like I did above. Okay, number 14, another bonus problem. Let's put 1s on anything we can put a 1 on. All right, if I have parentheses, I know I'm going to multiply, so I'll get negative 3 to the 3rd, m to the 12, n to the 9, p to the 15, and then times negative 4 to the 2nd, m to the 6th, n to the 2, and then just times negative 2p. That's just going to hang out for right now. Okay, negative 3 to the 3rd power is 27, and a negative, if it's raised to an odd power, will be negative. So I'll get m to the 12, n to the 9, p to the 15, and then times. Negative 4 to the 2nd is going to be 16, and this time it's going to be positive because I'll take a negative times a negative, which gives me a positive. And now I'm just rewriting the next of my problem. Now I'm going to combine what I can. First of all, I'm going to take all of these normal numbers and multiply them like normal. So I'll get negative 27 times 16 times negative 2, and that will give me 864. And then my m's, if I add them, 12 plus 6 will give me 18. And then my n's, if I add those, I'll get 9 plus 2, which gives me 11. And then if I add my p's, I have 15 plus another one over there, which gives me 16. So that would be my final answer.